What's going on, everybody? ChromeOnRust here. Just a little Barb update video for you. Now, not a ton has changed with my Barb build, but a few things I have been tweaking around, and I've come up with a general consensus on if you're trying to use the EQ set and you're trying to run without a Unity in Torment 6 and get decent clear times, running without the IK set is going to be actually pretty difficult unless you were to maybe get a ton of the health globe healing bonus like I was talking about in my last video, because if you're running Bloodthirst, heal amount is going to be increased by 1% of your health globe healing bonus. So I'm just going to go into a few tweaks that I have made to the build, a few things that I've changed. It's not going to be a complete guide or anything like that. Now I'm still using Seismic Slam with Shattered Ground. I was playing around a lot with Hammer of the Ancients, trying to make it work. Playing in Torment 6 without a Unity ring is actually pretty difficult. I was able to make Hoda work, but I did have more deaths than when I was running with Seismic Slam, so I've pretty much just leaned towards using Seismic Slam when I'm having troubles with survivability. If you're not using the Unity ring, you're trying to play in Torment 6, survivability is going to be an issue that you could come across. Now, Leap with Death from Above. I was playing around a lot with the Iron Impact. I was watching Manor Cookie. He was using Iron Impact and he said it was actually pretty good. I've used it quite a bit as well. It has its advantages, definitely. I still really like Death from Above a little bit more. The difference between the two is Iron Impact is going to make you a lot more tanky. When you jump into an Elite Pack and you're using, or you're not using, but the Elite Pack is like electrified as well as reflects damage. When you're playing your Barb and you leap in with only death from above, you take a ton of damage, and if you're hitting like a group of blue elites and they're all that same modifier, you know, the reflex damage and the electrified, running Iron Impact in that situation or a situation similar to that, you know, you're just going to be able to beef your survivability up quite a bit. But when you're not running Death from Above, you do have problems with mobs running away from you. If your damage is not extremely high, those mobs that are running away from you are just going to take even longer and even longer. And since I'm not using a Unity ring, I am gearing more towards survivability. Now, you wouldn't want to run this in like hardcore or anything like that, but I'm gearing more for survivability than you'd see, I guess, your average barbarian go when they're using the Unity ring. So Death from Above has been my choice, but Iron Impact is also very good. I would kind of bounce back and forth between the two. Earthquake, Molten Fury, that is the same. Call the Ancients together as one. Now, in the last video, I was using the Council Rises. It makes a ton of sense. They do deal fire damage. I was still having some troubles with survivability. It wasn't real bad, but it was to the point where, you know, I may run a rift and I die, and I load up the next rift and I die again. Now, it's not going to be all cases, but you encounter the really bad packs, and, well, I was dying. So I actually went ahead and threw on Together as one. This is doing the exact same thing that the Unity is doing for you. Is this type of build the most efficient or anything like that? No, it's not going to be the most efficient, but I still am able to clear rifts in under 8 minutes with this particular build. You know, it's still a really efficient build. I've just dropped my damage, put more of that towards survivability, so that way they've kind of compensated and balanced out between the two. Council Rises is also very good for this type of build. Wrath the Berserker, Insanity, Thrive on Chaos is very good, as well as Striding Giant. One of these three are going to be pretty much the optimal ones that I'd go for. Now we could go ahead and we'll look at the passives. I'm still using Superstition, Bloodthirst, and Rampage, but since I'm using Together as one, I really want Boon of the Bolcathos, because, well, it's going to reduce our Wrath of Berserker by 30 seconds, as well as our Call of the Ancients by 30 seconds, Earthquakes by 15 seconds. Those are going to be really good. Before, I was using Tough as Nails just for the increased survivability, but with the Ancients, it's not really an issue any longer. Now, the last one that I did not talk about is going to be Battle Rage with Swords of whatever that is, right there. Crit hits have a 8% chance to cause an enemy to drop additional health globes. Now, this right here kind of changed my build, because I think before I was using Marauder's Rage just for the increased damage on Seismic Slam. But when you are using Seismic Slam, running with this particular rune with Battle Rage is really, really amazing when you're doing rifts. They're really dense zones. you throw out a few seismic slams, and not all the time, but you know, if it's a big enough group, you're going to be having health globes just like popping out like crazy. So those are the skills there. That's what I've kind of tweaked between last weekend. Now, since I'm using this particular skill here, I have been also running with Reaper's Wraps. Now, before I was using the... I should have them here. Wherever they are. I can't even think of the name of them now. What are they? Ooh, I should know this. I don't know where they are. That's really bad. I found the Coonies, not to make this video any longer, but I cannot remember the name of those bracers, so I am just going to throw the name of the bracers. There they are. They're right there. Strong arm bracers. Why I couldn't remember that name, but strong arm bracers, sorry about all that, is what I was using before in my previous video. But while you are using the Reaper's Wraps, it's going to be giving you a ton of additional resource. So now I've said that I've dropped my damage, but I've also increased my survivability, but I've also increased my damage by using Reaper's Wraps and using the particular ruin on Battle Rage to give us additional health globes, and now I don't really run out of fury too often. I mean, I will. Things still happen, you know, you get in the really bad spots, you may run out of fury, you're just starting up a zone, you know, but you run into the rift, you have a ton of additional fury. Now, it is a big trade-off because the Reaper or the strong arm bracers are going to give you 30% additional damage, but since we are using Bloodthirst, these are all kind of playing into each other. The Seismic Slam is great for the AoE, the Battle Rage is getting us additional damage, more crit, as well as additional health globes. We're running Bloodthirst. We spend Fury as often as possible to give us a ton of healing. We're then using the Reaper's Wraps here to give us, well, our primary resource. We're getting health globes, which is giving us a ton of healing as well. So it's increased the damage, and it's increased, well, the Fury that I can spend, so it's increased my survivability as well. So between all those changes, as well as I have swapped out, because now Fury is not really an issue, I found things to do, which is basically using Seismic Slam in between my leaps. I've actually stopped preferring cooldown on my rings with this particular build because I'm able to Seismic Slam a ton. And when I'm Seismic Slamming, I'm gaining healing. So while leap is going to be our main source of damage, still Seismic Slam is definitely bumped up in how much damage that it's going to be providing for us. So overall, I think this build is a little bit more tanky. I feel like the damage is kind of close. It's really hard to say, but just from timing my rifts, it's really close, but I'm having less deaths now. In the long run, I think this build is going to be just slightly better. So I'm still using the IK pieces. I haven't swapped any of the other gear out, except for, like I said, I am using my crit chance Royal Ring now, and I am using my crit chance Stone of Jordan. Still haven't found Lut Socks with Seismic Slam damage or anything like that. So that's pretty much what I have tweaked currently with my particular build that I have been running. Overall, I like the changes. I mean, that's why I'm coming out with the video, because I think it's a little bit better running this particular setup. You know, the gear really hasn't changed other than I'm not running cooldown rings now, and I'm using Reaper's Wraps instead of these strong arm bracers. But that's the overall thing. You know, you're going to be getting a ton more healing health globe healing through the health globes, and you're going to be getting a ton of, well, your primary resource because you're using the Reaper's Wraps now as well, and the Battle Rage and all that. So between all of them, things are really looking up. Just really need to get better gear to keep progressing the build. I need to really test out the full potential of Bloodthirst. Without having good gear with health globe healing bonus, you're not going to be getting the full usage out of Bloodthirst. What I feel that IK is probably going to be able to be dropped, and I think it's going to be overall a better build, but you know, that's really late game Torment 6 that I'm looking at. The gear that I have now is good, but I'm just lacking the health globe healing bonus on, you know, I just don't have any on the gear that I'm using currently. So that's something that I really need to look into. Now, why I did not come out with this video over the weekend, that's it for the Barb stuff, is, well, I was working on a stream with a good buddy of mine named Yarlith, and, well, we decided to stream under the name Nasty Old Vikings. It's a guild we've been a part of for quite some time. If you want to know more about the history, well, you can go over to the stream and check us out. Now, we're going to be always streaming on Sundays, like 3 o'clock Central Time. But, streams are probably just going to be popping up randomly because, we play throughout the week as well. It's just we want to have one guaranteed day that we're going to be streaming. So come check it out. We have a community as well. You could join the community, Nasty Old Vikings, and you'd be able to chat with us or whatever if you have questions, various things like that. Well, that's going to be it for me. I am ChromeOnRust for Core Expert Gaming. Go ahead and try out a few different changes. Like I said in my previous video, if you're tweaking your Barb like I've been doing, send me some feedback. Let me know what you are enjoying, what you're changing, various things like that. That's going to be it for me. I am ChromeOnRust for Core Expert Gaming. I'm out of here, and you all have a great day.